Hi guys, this is Scribbly again with another pen review, and today we are looking at something rather special, which is one of Pilot's top flagship pens, the Pilot Custom 845 Urushi. Very happy to be able to present this pen to you. The Pilot 845 was a pen that has always been very hard to obtain in Europe, was much more easily accessible, of course, in Japan, but also in the US. But in the recent weeks and months, these pens here, also the Pilot Custom 823 that I will review separately, became much more accessible in the European market. This one here came from lacquer du Comte in the Netherlands. Thanks a lot for shipping this pen to me for review. Before we dive into the review, let's have a quick look at this very, very beautiful box. White cardboard, some very interesting structure here, the golden Pilot logo. I think this looks very, very minimalist and sort of very well matches the minimalist appearance of this pretty fantastic pen, I can already say that. And I think when we open that lid here, that impression will get reinforced. Very nice wooden box. This is not very thick wood. It doesn't sort of like, appear like super heavy, sturdy, top-notch, high quality or whatnot. But I think what it does convey, again, is like this very lovely minimalist notion, Japanese craftsmanship right here. I do like that a whole lot. Pilot, it does say again in here, bedded in sort of like very nice red velvet, so to speak. And there we have it, the Pilot Custom 845 with a nice 18 karat gold nib. And the one that we got right here is a fine nib. But let's have a look at the pen. Overall, this is a rather large pen. It is a flat top pen. I mean, Pilot has basically, and there are more exclusive pens, two different pen body designs. One is like the cigar shape that you find in the Pilot Custom 823 and the Pilot 74 and so on. And the flat top that you find in the Custom Heritage 92. And then also right here in this Custom 845 Urushi. As said, it's like a flat top pen, but it does have a little bit of a flare right here. So it doesn't have a completely cylindrical body, but other than that, there is not a lot of, body shape thingies going on right here. Let's cover the pen from top to bottom. Right here, we do have like a finial or like a flat top with nothing on, apart from a golden ring that is elevated ever so slightly right here. Very nice, very minimalist, just looks neat, I think. We have like a cap band right here. We then have the classic Pilot teardrop shaped clip right here saying Pilot with a ball right here. Very functional clip. Very nice. Works very, very well to slide that pen into a shirt pocket or into a pen pouch. We then have a double cap band right here, a smaller one and a larger one, saying Custom 845 Urushi because it's an Urushi lacquered ebonite pen. 3 stars, Pilot, made in Japan, and 2 stars. That's interesting. No, sorry, it's not 3 stars. It's 2 stars on both sides. I think it's the Pilot Custom 823 that has 3 stars. This one here has 2 stars. Anyway, cap then flares down here. That sits super tight. There's no wiggle room whatsoever. Then as said, we have like this little, oh, sorry, that was banging against the camera. We have this little flare here and then a cylindrical body and a golden ring here at the end of the pen. And then we have like a sort of elevated end thingy right here. No gold ring around, no golden ring around that, but sort of like mirroring the elevation right here, which is also very, very nice attention to detail. As said, the material is Japanese ebonite, which is Urushi lacquered. Urushi being a lacquering process, so you can Google that, with a very special Japanese lacquer deep dark black lacquer right here, applied several times and then polished and so on. It's like a very lengthy, very special technique. Very many fans and lovers of Japanese fountain pens and Japanese stationery do appreciate that a whole lot. Gives it a very, very beautiful dark color, very, very nice depth to the material, and incredibly deep black color. It's really, really nice. And then the ebonite with the Urushi makes it for a very lightweight pen that is very, very beautiful, very soft to the touch. You have a screw-on cap, and that unscrews with 1.5 or 1.75 of a turn. Very nice. Makes it for a beautiful, rather quick note taker as well. You have an inner cap that you can't see right here, obviously, because it's a very dark cap, but I can see it when I look into it. To prevent the nib from drying out, what's also very nice, and I'm not sure if you can see that right here, I think your camera picks it up right here. The cap inside has some kind of a lining or a coating. It's probably felt or something like that, which sort of does make that the cap sits very, very snug. So there is almost no wiggle room right here, and also prevents the Urushi lacquer from scratching, which is very, very nice. The pen is, as said, very, very lightweight because it's ebonite. It's plenty long in hand, extremely balanced, really fantastic. I normally don't like lightweight pens so much, but in this case I find it's just absolutely fantastic. You could post the cap. It becomes very long and unwieldy in my opinion. It's also plenty long enough unposted. Posts fairly deep down onto the body. I wouldn't be concerned of posting it because, as said, it has like this felt tip line, or this felt lining in there. Which, you know, I wouldn't be worried for this to scratch the barrel right here. But as said, becomes pretty long, and it's long enough like this, so all good. I wouldn't post this pen. Let's look at this spectacular large nib. This is an 18 karat gold nib. In pilot terms, this is a number 15 size. I think that's sort of like in, you know, sort of like, I don't know, what is that? Western nib size measurements. It's a number 6. Here you have a Mont Blanc Meisterstück 146. So you see, pretty much same nib size, just that the pilot nib is like a tad longer, maybe a millimeter or so more pointy. Other than that, as said, number 6 or number 15 size nib right here. Beautiful bicolor duo tone nib saying pilot, 18K, 750, 15 for the nib size, F4 fine, and then 1019 here for this being a nib manufactured in the month of October 2019. Down here we do have the plastic pilot feet, and this is a very nice fine nib, very, very beautiful nib design. I think Pilot does make some of the finest nibs out there. And then you have a section which is plenty large enough, has a very good girth to it. It's pretty much comparable to a Pelikan M600 section. And then you have another gold band right here. The pen then opens up like this. Gold section with an O-ring here to be sure that it seals nice and snugly. And then you have the Pilot Con 70 converter in here. In that case here it's a black version, and I think I have the pen inked with Graf von Faber-Castell Deep Sea Green. So this here is a converter or cartridge converter filled pen. It does also take the proprietary Pilot ink cartridges. Let's do a size comparison. As said, this is a fairly large pen. Comparing it to my standard size reference pen, Alamy Safari, which is by no means a small pen, reveals that the Safari is about ½ centimeter shorter than the 845. Let's uncap those pens. And you see that the custom 845 is probably a millimeter longer, but it's pretty much the same length actually when they're uncapped. Obviously, the nib is a lot larger. See this beautiful large nib here. And the section is also girthier. While we're at it, let's look at the section of two other pens as said, that are fairly similar. Here you have the Pelikan M600. I think it's fair to say that that is, let's also see the nib side by side, just because we're at it. I think it's pretty fair to say that that's the, you know, M600, that's sort of the nib diameter that you're looking at, or the nib width. Let's look at the M800. The M800 is a bit girthier, I would say. And let's look at the nibs in comparison, just so you have that picture. Right, now that we have that, let's do a writing sample towards the end of this review with this fantastic 18K gold nib. Here we are. Oh, it's actually not a Pilot Custom. It's just a, what is it called? I forgot. Yeah, Pilot Custom 845 Urushi. So let's do that again. Yes, with a nice fine nib in 18 karat gold. Fantastic writing experience. Let's look at wetness. I mean, this is a very fine nib. Obviously, that doesn't get a lot of ink on the page generally, but you know, so there's literally no wetness at all. It's just enough to like give you like a beautiful dark line, but don't expect this to be a gusher. Here we write with no pressure. Here we apply a little bit more pressure. Very, very nice. Lovely. So, writing experience, very smooth with a tad of feedback, no sailor feedback or something like that, but it is a little bit of feedback, but very smooth. As you can see right here, also bouncy, springy, does provide not really for line variation, but you see here in the L for lovely and in the Y down here. So if you vary pressure a little bit, it does give you some nice, you know, line pronunciation right here. I wouldn't say that it's as sensitive to touch as like the nib of a Pilot Custom 74, for instance. But you know, with a very light hand you get a very thin stroke, and if you apply a little bit more pressure you do get a little bit wider in line width. This is by no means a flex nib, it's not a semi-flex nib or something like that. I would just call it a nice cushioned writing experience, a nice bouncy nib. So at the end of this review, price of this pen, 600 and something euro. I think it's 645 euro or something like that. That's by no means a inexpensive pen. You're sort of like in the realms of like a Mont Blanc Meisterstück 146, which I think puts it in perspective very nicely. This here is a flagship pen of a leading Japanese fountain pen manufacturer, and it has like an 18 karat gold nib, and probably most importantly, it has this fantastic, beautiful Urushi lacquer, which is a very lengthy procedure, handmade by an artisan. So I think the price really is, you know, more than okay. Yes, it's not a piston filler, it's a cartridge converter, but you know, that's also practical. It's just what it is. You know, obviously you are paying for the craftsmanship, for the Urushi lacquer, for this fantastic minimalist pen. I think, as said, it's an okay price, right? Guys, that was that with that review. Last but not least, thanks once more to La Couronne du Comte in the Netherlands for sending me that pen. Check out their web shop, by the way. They have like a rather newly designed web shop, which looks fantastic. Guys, I hope it was a helpful review to you, and I'll glad you see you at the next review. Ciao, ciao.